Hey now folks, today we're taking a look at the game Trieste from Victory Point Games. Now you might remember that I reviewed Darkest Night and its expansion, which are both from Victory Point Games as well. And during one of those reviews I said that I definitely need to keep an eye on Victory Point Games because they're a company that's been around for a while, but they usually do heavier war games that I wasn't that interested in, but they've started to branch off into other types of games. And Trieste is no exception. This is actually a card game for exactly 3 players, which is unique in and of itself. But not only that, each of the 3 players is going to be playing the game in a very different way, going towards a very different goal. So, does this work? It's quite a bit farther out of Victory Point Games' wheelhouse than even Darkest Night was, but let's take a look and see if it works. Trieste is a game for exactly 3 players. Each of the 3 players takes control of a different faction, either the City Watch, the Merchant, or the Thief. And each faction has their own separate victory condition. But the game itself plays the same no matter what faction that you're playing. So I'm just going to explain the basic gameplay, and then we're going to break it down into what each faction does, what their special abilities are, and what their victory condition is. So first off, everyone gets 2 of these copper cards from the treasure deck. The treasure deck is just put in a central place, and the treasure deck is filled with either the copper cards like I just showed you, silver, gold, which is much more rare, and diamonds, which is the rarest card, and there's only 1 in the deck. Now you notice that these have a particular value on each card, 1 through 4. These are going to be the currency which you use to use some of the special cards you have in each of your decks. So you'll start off with 2 copper, and then you're going to draw 2 cards from your own personal faction deck. And during the remainder of the turns in the game, you're always going to have your draw phase first, and at that point you can choose to either draw 2 cards from either the treasure deck, which remember has nothing but the currency, or your own personal faction deck. And you can mix and match. You can draw 1 card from each deck, 2 from just one of the decks, and so on. Now, once everyone has drawn their card, then there's the play phase. You're going to take one of the cards that you have in your hand, and there is no hand limit in this game, which is important to mention, and everyone's going to put the card face down, and you don't have to play a card if you don't want to. But it's simultaneous selection, put the card face down. Now, how it's going to work is that if you want to actually play one of your faction deck cards, like let's say that the Thief faction wanted to play the Inside Job card, first they have to make sure that they have the currency available to use the card. Now this the little gold symbol up here is how much money it actually costs to use the card. So long as they have a number of these currency treasure cards in their hand equal to that cost, then once they have played, then they know they can actually afford the card. Now, what they could choose to do instead is play either a copper or a silver card, and then everyone's going to flip their cards over. If it's a card that is from your faction deck that you had to pay for, you'll immediately discard treasure cards equal to the value that you need to pay for it to the treasure card discard pile, and then the effect gets resolved in turn order. Now, the order is always going to go City Watch first, then the Merchant, then the Thieves. That's how the order always goes, and that's important. So the City Watch will flip and resolve their card first, then the Merchant, then the Thief. Now, like I said, if it's just one of your faction cards, you'll flip it over, pay for it, and resolve whatever the effect is. If it's a copper or a silver card, you're actually going to discard that treasure and then draw as many cards from the treasure deck as the value, so either 1 or 2. You cannot use gold or diamonds to do that, otherwise you would always do it. But anyways, so once everyone has flip their card, the effects are all resolved in order, then you get down to the end phase of the game round, I should say. During the end phase, a couple things happen. First, everyone's going to check in order to see if their victory condition has been met for their particular faction. And again, even if multiple factions meet their victory condition at the same time, the order matters. So if the City Watch and the Merchant both reach their victory condition at the same time, the City Watch would actually win because they get to go first in turn order. But if no one has met their victory condition during this round, the round will end, except that during the end phase, there's one more thing you can do, and that's that after you resolve one of your faction deck cards, it goes into the discard pile. If you would like, you can actually purchase a level 1 through 3 card from your discard pile and put it back into your hand. In which case, like let's say that the card I resolved, or maybe it was on a previous turn, was the inside job card. I could actually, it goes to my discard pile, I could buy it back, put it back into my hand by paying 4, in which case I discard that treasure right away into the treasure discard pile. And that's basically the gameplay of this. You're going to keep doing that, resolving card effects, buying cards, getting treasure, getting faction cards, trying to meet your victory condition. Now, what are those victory conditions and what does each faction do? Well, let's start with the City Watch. Now, each faction comes with their own victory condition card, which serves as a reminder to tell you what your victory condition is. So, the Law and Order card for the City Watch. Their victory condition is that whenever a thief character is captured, you place it under this card. If you have 7 or more thief characters during your end phase, you're going to win the game. So the City Watch directly opposes the thieves. But of course, you're trying to keep the merchant from winning before you as well. Here's some of the cards in the City Watch deck. You have Bloodhounds, which costs you 3, and they're, up here is the level of the card, which can be very important. So the level 2 card, the Bloodhounds get to capture a level 2 or lower thief character revealed this turn or the discard pile. Now, this turn part is important because the City Watch goes first and everyone actually reveals their cards first before the effects are resolved. This means you can actually cancel out a thief character that the thief is actually trying to play this turn, which can be pretty devastating to the thief character. If the character is captured this way, the thief also loses an infamy, which is something that has to do with the thief's win condition, which I'll get to in a moment. You also have Operation Fox Hunt, a level 3 card, costs you 4. This is an action card. The thief reveals all cards in their hand, capture a thief character that is in the thief's hand, in the discard pile, or is played this turn, and repeat this process at the beginning of your next end phase. So that's a very powerful card for the City Watch. You have a Patrol Officer, which is a level 0, but it only costs you 1. You can capture a level 1 or lower thief character revealed this turn, or a level 0 thief character in the discard pile. If a character is captured this way, you get to draw a treasure card. Undercover Agent costs you 2, level 1 character. You can put the top card of the thief deck into the discard pile. If it's a character that you discard that way, you get to capture it and draw a City Watch card, regardless of whether it's the thief that's captured. A Politician, it's a level 2 card. It's going to cost you 2, but it costs you 1 more if you have tax cards in play. Choose one. You can search your deck for a tax card and play it for free, or use a revealed Monopoly card, or send a revealed Monopoly card to the merchant discard pile. So that card actually will screw over the merchant a bit. And issue a bounty, pay 2, level 2 card, name a thief character card for the rest of the turn. All copies of the named card that are in the discard pile or are put into the discard pile are captured. And finally, one of the tax cards, Security Tax, costs you 4. It's a level 3 card. This card stays revealed until an effect removes it. On the payment phases, level 3 merchant action cards and level 1 thief characters cards cost 1 more, and level 2 City Watch cards cost 1 less. Very powerful card. Now, I should also mention that should you choose to play the advanced game, and I highly recommend that you do, each character faction also gets to choose a hero card. You set these 3 heroes aside at the beginning of the game, choose one, you're going to put that hero face down next to your faction deck, and at any point during the game, you can reveal that hero when applicable to use their special effect. So, Maestro Prospero for the City Watch. During your end phase, if there is no tax card revealed, flip or reveal this hero. You cannot flip or reveal this hero any other way. When you reveal this hero, search your deck for a tax card and play it for free. Giovanni the Inquisitor. Whenever you capture a thief character, if that thief is the same level as another captured thief, draw treasure cards equal to the thief's level and 1 City Watch card. And Sketch Artist Antonia. When you reveal this hero, capture a thief in the discard pile and draw treasure cards equal to the thief's level. When the thief buys back a character, flip this hero face down, which means you can use her ability over and over again, potentially. So that's the City Watch. They win if they can capture 7 thieves. Let's talk about the merchant's special victory condition is Untold Riches. If you have a treasure value of 11 plus X in your hand during your end phase, you win the game. X is equal to the total level of all captured thief characters. So the merchant actually is relying on getting as much treasure as possible and is relying on the City Watch capturing as low level thieves as possible in order to make it easier for him or her. So you just need to get as much treasure as possible, basically. Here's some examples of some of the cards. Share the Wealth. Costs you 1, level 1 card. Draw 4 treasure cards and immediately give one of the drawn treasure cards to an opponent and another drawn treasure card to a different opponent. Security Guard. For the rest of this turn, if a level 1 or lower thief character affects you, negate it instead. If an effect is negated this way, draw 2 treasure cards and 1 merchant card. Bank Loans, very simply, draw 4 treasure cards. The Lobbyist. Costs you 1 more for each Monopoly card in your discard pile. You get to choose one. Search your discard pile for a Monopoly card and play it for free, or move a revealed tax card to the bottom of the City Watch deck. The Black Market. Costs you 3 on your next. It's an action card. On your next turn, you are unaffected by thief characters and City Watch actions. Draw 1 merchant card and 1 treasure card. Trade School. This is one of the Monopoly cards. It stays revealed until an effect removes it. Draw 1 extra merchant card at the end of each of your draw phases. And the Bounty Hunter. Level 4 character, or level 3 character, it costs you 4. Put a thief character card played this turn or in the discard pile to the bottom of the thief deck. Any effects are negated. Draw merchant cards equal to the character's level and treasure cards equal to its cost. Now the merchant has heroes as well, so to speak. I use the term hero loosely, but you have Dario the Dealer. Dario, the effect for all business as usual cards is replaced with the following. Draw 3 treasure cards and reveal them. The City Watch separates the revealed treasure cards into 2 piles. Put 1 pile into your hand and discard the other pile. Business as usual is, of course, one of the cards in the merchant deck. Little Antonella. During the end phase, you may reveal a treasure card from your hand and set it aside. Treasure cards set aside in this way cannot be stolen and can only be used to buy the Untold Riches card, which of course is their victory condition card. And High Roller Jacopo. Once per turn, if you have exactly 7 or 11 cards in your hand during the end phase, draw a treasure card and 2 merchant cards. Now let's talk about the Thief. Now the Thief's victory condition is a bit different from the others in that there's not just 1 card, there are 9 cards. And you need to gain 9 cards of 9 infamy cards in order to win the game. You're going to gain infamy either through special card effects or whenever you successfully resolve the effect of a thief character, you gain infamy cards equal to that thief's level. Let me show you what I mean by showing you some of the different cards in the thief faction deck. Well, first you have the Street Urchin, who actually has no level, so he'll never gain you infamy, but the Street Urchin lets you randomly reveal a card from the merchant's hand. If a treasure card is not revealed, you draw a thief card. If it is revealed, you place the treasure card in your hand, and if that treasure card is worth 2 or more, you'll actually gain an infamy. So like, as you can already tell, the thief is all about screwing over the merchant and trying to stay 1 step ahead of the City Watch. The Back Alley Mugger is level 2, so you would actually get 2 infamy if you successfully resolved his effect. And his effect is the merchant randomly discards 2 cards from their hand and places all treasure cards discarded this way in your hand instead. The Foxtail Gang, the merchant reveals all cards in their hand and discards 2 cards of your choice. Place all discarded treasure cards in your hand instead. The Foxy Vixen, this character can only be captured from the discard pile, which makes it much more difficult for the City Watch to get a hold of her. A player of your choice skips their next draw phase, draw a treasure card. The Master of Disguises can also only be captured from the discard pile, and the Master of Disguises has the same effect as a thief character of your choice that is captured or in the discard pile. Jailbreak is an action card. Return a captured thief character to your hands. The merchant discards cards equal to the level of the character returned this way. Gain infamy equal to the level of the character returned this way. And Smoke Bomb. Now, I like this one a lot. The Smoke Bomb, because it's very thematic. The next time a thief character is captured, you may discard this card from your hand and place a captured thief into the discard pile instead. If that character was also the card played this turn, return it to your hand during the end phase. Hence, there's no level or no cost. Really fun, really thematic card. And of course, the thieves have their heroes as well. You have Borso the Burrower. When you reveal this hero, return a captured thief character to your hand. The merchant discards cards equal to the level of the character returned this way, and you gain an infamy. Cut Purse Katarina. When you reveal this hero, reveal all Street Urchin cards in your deck, and there are a lot of them, and place them in your hand. When a Street Urchin steals a copper, gain an infamy. It's pretty good. And Ninetales. When you reveal this hero, look at the top 9 cards of the treasure deck, then look at the top 3 cards of every player's deck. Draw 1 extra card on your next draw phase. During your end phase, you may skip your next draw phase to flip this hero face down, which essentially recharges him and lets you flip him over again and use his ability again. So that's basically Trieste. Every faction has their different victory condition. They're all opposed to each other in one way, shape, or form, either directly opposing one of the factions or trying to keep the other faction in check. And the first person to meet their victory condition in turn order wins the game. Now, the one word that kept popping into my head during the multiple times that I played this game was neat. This game is just neat, and I enjoyed it thoroughly. I really can't get enough of it, and I'm thinking about playing it again right now. I wish I had exactly 2 people to play it with right now, because this game was just fun. Now, I've kind of been on a kind of a card game kick lately, mostly with sort of micro games like Love Letter and Lost Legacy, but this game is meatier than those, but still being kind of light-ish and accessible. It's not too deep, but there is some definite strategy here. But what I like the most is, well, I should say, I did a review of Netrunner, and I love Netrunner a lot. And part of what I love about Netrunner is that the corporation and the runner, the 2 players in the game, are playing the game very differently. Some of the mechanics are the same, and you have the ultimate goal of getting these agenda points, but the way that you get there is completely different. Now, in Trieste, the way that you get to your agenda, the way that you get to your victory condition is mostly the same. I mean, you're playing cards in the same manner that the other players are, but getting that victory condition is different, and it does affect how you play the game. And I love the different feel of each of the factions. You're all looks like you're doing the same thing, but how you go about it, the method that you play is all very different, and I really love that. In fact, I've played all 3 factions now, and I can't tell which one I love the most because they all just behave differently, and it's very cool. If you're this, and I love how they're interacting with each other. So the City Watch is definitely targeting the thieves, but the City Watch has to worry about the merchant because it's not like you're allied with the merchant. You don't want that player to win either. The merchant is trying to just play the defensive strategy against the thief, while at the same time is trying to keep the City Watch in check and not helping them too much and trying to pit those 2 against each other. And the thief feels like they're beset on both sides because they have to worry about taking down the merchant and getting all that treasure from the merchant, but they have to worry about the City Watch stealing their stuff. But then the thieves, I think, have some of the coolest abilities, which sort of makes up for that. I will say that, in my opinion, now I've played 5 games of this, 3 of those games were won by the merchant, and I don't think that was chance. I think that the merchant is in the best position to win, and is probably the strongest faction. I guess I need to play more games to know if that's definitely true, but that's my opinion. I just think that they can just play the solid defensive strategy, and they're already primed to win. It's incumbent on the other 2 players to just hit the merchant as hard as possible with whatever way the City Watch can, mostly through taxes, and try to keep that merchant in check while, as a secondary goal, trying to get their victory condition met. Because if you leave the merchant unchecked, then they're priming up for a win. That, I feel, is a little bit unbalanced. I wish that the merchant was more power level-wise in tune with the other 2. But having said that, even the games that I lost, I was very happy because it's still fun playing it. I really love the Thief faction. I think that is going to be most people's favorite faction, just because it's so cool, and you feel like you're you don't feel like you're evil thieves, you feel like you're freedom fighting thieves for the most part. So component wise, I mean, this is victory point games, so their card quality is kind of crap. The cutting on the cards was not that great, but the artwork is fantastic. I think it's a different artist than Darkest Night, but Darkest Night's artwork was fantastic. This artwork is fantastic. They're really hitting it out of the park in that regard, and artwork's very important to me because I think that there is a theme here, but without that extra bit with the artwork and the names of the cards and the sort of the flavor of the cards, I think that it wouldn't be brought across nearly as much as it could have been. So I'm glad that they did that. So all in all, I mean, you can play this game in 20 to 30 minutes, which is pretty quick for a game like this. It does suck that you have to have exactly 3 players, but then again, I wouldn't give that up if it meant that the unique experience of this game would have to be given up as well. So I give it a really high recommendation. I really think this is fun. It came out of nowhere for me, and I'm happy that I have it. I can't wait to see what else they can do with this game or with other future releases along this lines. I think Victory Point Games is on a very strong trajectory right now, for me anyways. So my name is Nick. This is Board Game Brawl, reminding you to get out there and game every day in and every way, even if it's only with 3 players.